All right, welcome everybody to another week of 4 Point Play with your co-host Matt Heiser from Swish Scouting, and alongside me, as always, my partner.
Robert Alfonso Jr. with Base on the Sideline. How's it going, Matt?
Good, good. Real unique week for August for high school basketball in Georgia. We had a couple Division One offers that got thrown out this week. Judge Will Banks from Habersham Central picking up a Division One offer to Air Force. North Georgia kid that you've seen quite a few times. Fonz, what can you tell us about the big man from Habersham?
Well, the whole thing is he's got great size, and strength. Most guys who are bigger, especially in Georgia, you know, they have that great size, but they play another sport. They play football. He doesn't, and he's got good feet and great hands. And he certainly, that offer that was extended to him is almost an ideal fit because he would fit that Mountain West kind of play, especially with the things that they do out at Air Force with their Zoom offense and a lot of things that he's a nice pick and pop guy, but he certainly is a banger, and that's certainly something that he would fit in great into what they do.
He's got an older brother that's probably taught him a thing or two. He's a pretty good player himself.
Yes.
Recently, some good athletes. But when I saw them play last year, at Buford in that event, I saw them in
Hmm.
person, I think, for the first time last year. Like, on a team that had a lot of really good seniors at Habersham last year, he definitely stuck out as a 2026 guy who passes the eyeball test right away. And the more you watch him, the more you like him. And just a kid, I think, still scratching the surface. So, and another kid who picked up another, Armed Forces offer at the Division One level this week, Carter Higdon, 6'7" big man, um, picked up an offer to Navy. And another guy who you saw this summer as well. What did you like about his game?
Yeah, Carter. It's funny. Both of these two big guys are contrasting styles. One's a bruiser boxer, basically. Let me go ahead and get in the paint, mix it up. Carter can do a little bit of the two, but he's exceptionally skilled at 6'7", 6'8", out on the perimeter, being able to shoot the basketball and do a lot of things that he showed me a lot of promise playing with Chuck Persons, Team Persons, this summer, and really was allowed to display his skills beyond the paint. But he can certainly get in the paint. He can certainly handle the ball, which again, in today's modern day of basketball, like we like to talk about, he fits to what Navy does with their offensive sets because they're always looking to beat that other team in the Northeast that is part of a military academy that I never say.
Fair enough. But I mean, to me, it shows how unappreciated maybe that region was last year in 4A. That I mean, they only had 5 teams, and people kind of like, oh, it's a small region, but I mean, Kell was good, obviously. Westminster was really good. And then you had Cambridge and Centennial who were good, and Cambridge made that Sweet 16 run last year. I mean, they had Avery White as well, who's doing your prep school or post grad this year instead of going onto the college level. But Carter was a big part of that as well. And when I watched Cambridge last year, he was an instant eye catcher for me. So happy for him as well.
Absolutely.
But joining us this week, we're pleased to have the one and only Coach McDaniel joining us from Salem High School. How are you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, I mean, now we did a segment a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure if you're listening now, but we talked about unique gyms to watch a high school basketball game at in Georgia, and we didn't mention Salem, but I meant to mention Salem because that is one of the most unique environments as far as gym setup goes to watch a high school game at. So what's that like to practice in every day?
So it's different. It's different. Our gym, the way it's set up is that, in my opinion, they said it was supposed to be a pool because that's how it's set up. That's how it's set up. Whereas there's no seating down there, and it's just a whole bunch of space. But this year, they decided that they're going to pull out some bleachers for like student section and stuff like that to make it feel more homey. A lot of people don't like playing at our gym because they gotta sit in the nosebleed just to watch our game.
It's unique.
Well, I
It's
mean, Well, that's good though that they at least are taking steps to consider helping you guys as well as even the other fans get closer to the action.
Yeah, yeah, no,
You
for
know,
sure. Yeah. We got to talk about. Obviously, we're talking about this season, but we got to talk about you guys last year, right? Like I think one of the darlings of the postseason last year was Salem High School, right? You guys finished, I think, fifth in the regular season in your region or fourth, and then made a run that was arguably unrivaled, especially the week. I mean, that week of the region tournament. I mean, you guys pulled off what 3 wins in 4 days? Is that what it was?
Yeah, 3 wins in 4 days. Yes, sir.
And you
whew,
beat some really good teams, Columbia and South Atlanta, obviously. And so, I mean, those are good program wins. So kind of talk, and then you made a Sweet 16 run last year on top of that. So it's like the winning didn't stop. And so kind of talk about what that's like as a coach, where you're in this moment of the heat of being in a region tournament where you got to win, so to
Yeah.
speak. You guys kind of had your backs against the wall a little bit there, and you had to win. You led the kids through it, and then you found yourself in a state tournament, and then you win again. So just kind of talk to us, like what was that 2 weeks like for you guys?
So it was amazing. Coming off of, I think at one point we lost eight straight games, 7 to 8 straight games. But the funny part about it was we was losing by 2 points here, 1 point here, 3 point here, 4 points here. So they was all close games, and so we had to figure out why. In the fourth quarter, we always breaking down. We compete the whole game, but in the fourth quarter, we seem like we can't pull it through. And so, going back and talking to my coaching staff and just continue to watch film, I realized we were shooting a lot of threes. We were shooting too many threes, and they wasn't driving kicks. It was I'm coming down and I'm gonna shoot or quick shots. There weren't great shots. And so, going back to our last region game, we played Redan, and so I told my kids the first half we're not shooting no threes, and so don't shoot a three. And one of my better players, Eli Gaines, he shot one, and I set him down. I set him next to me for the rest of the half because I was serious about that. And so, with that being said, we end up winning by I think like 50 points, 40, 50 points. Yeah, we played really, really well, and so we get into the basket, and it opened up to us hitting threes. So we started hitting threes after that, and then also too, we decided to start pressing from the tip off all the way to the end of the game, for the whole 32 and more. And so that kind of helped us as well going down the stretch. Even though you played good teams that had good guards, like Columbia had great guards, we still pressed them the same way because we found out that was our identity for that team.
well, Coach, I'm gonna tell you, I happen to be looking at the Max Preps, and I don't know, I don't want to bring this up, but you did finish the season 2-9, as you mentioned in your run of things. But yes, the score was 70 to 50, 70 to 37 in that game against Redan. And that's a testament to you and your kids buying into what you were saying. And I love the fact that you held your kid to his feet to the fire and were like, no, I told you not to shoot. Let's talk about what did you when you looked at the film and then you started making this run. When did you see? What was it after the first region game against Drew? Second region game. When did you say to yourself, okay, we're gonna shock some people?
So once I really felt like we was gonna shock some people after we played Columbia the second time. Because if you go back and look at Max Prep, Columbia beat us really, really bad. Really, really bad the first time at their play. New environment, kids, Columbia got the name. Columbia always been good. So I think kids got a little nervous in a sense of that. And so when we played them at home and lost by 2 points, I talked to my kids after that and told them, look, man, we can play with the best of anybody. If y'all get out here and do what I'm telling y'all to do, y'all play hard and compete, we can be very, very successful. And I think they finally got it. They got it, and so that's why we was able to, beat Drew the first time, who beat us twice. Then Columbia beat us twice. We ended up was able to beat them, and then the same thing with South Atlanta. They beat us twice, and we was able to beat them. So I really think the kids bought into playing hard.
Okay, okay. And when you talk about that, you mentioned your guard play, you mentioned pressing, and having seen you this summer, it seems to something that you intend to continue with your club this year.
Yeah, with me in high coaches, I coach really really tough. I allow kids to play, but you got to play hard and you got to play defense. And so I can give my props to Wallace Corker. He was here. He's at Dutchtown right now, but I learned a lot from him defensively, and I'm able to take what he taught me and add it and make it to my own. But he preached defense, and if you watch Dutchtown, they play really really hard, and so he instilled that into me, where my kids know, hey, if you can't play defense, you can't play.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, you guys really grew this summer. I mean, we saw you guys from start to finish in June, and like from how you guys looked in McDonough to how you guys looked by the end of summer up at Collins Hill was tremendous growth, and so the confidence growing. And you got a young team this season. You got a really young team. You lost some key pieces to graduation, and so it was. But a big staple I noticed was that ball pressure, right? Like when you watch Salem, warm up, you're like, yeah, it's like a small young team out there, and then the ball goes up, you're like, oh, these guys are in your shorts, like these guys are all over you, and you guys had a really good summer. It was fun to watch you grow, and in your guys' region, nobody can convince me otherwise, but Region 6 of 2A is not the best region as far as depth goes this year,
Right.
because every team has a college level player on it. I don't think anybody else can say that in 2A this year. So maybe talk about like how do you approach that, right? Like some levels of basketball, there's like that one team, so to speak, that's like you don't relax, but like okay, if we get the right game plan, I feel pretty good. Versus your situation, every team's got a college level player that can go off for 30 on you every night. Like how do you prepare for that?
So it's work ethic. Like, even right now, typically when we start conditioning, I don't start until maybe the second or third week of school. But this year I started the first week. So soon we started working out. And so just getting kids uncomfortable. Because I feel like the game's going to be very uncomfortable because people going to be bigger than us, for as taller than us. Some of them might be faster than us, more athletic than us. But what I feel like nobody's going to be able to outwork us. So we're out in the sun running. We're like right now, I can see a big gain in my players. If you see them now, from the summer to now, you'll see that my kids are getting bigger, stronger, and faster. So we lift 4 days a week. We run 2 days a week. So we go heavy Monday and Wednesday, and we go light agilities on Tuesday and Thursday. So we're doing a lot of stuff to prepare these kids to be tough for this upcoming season. Because again, like you said, our region, man, is up for grabs.
Yeah. Every team's got a guy that's capable at your guys' level of just taking over a game, right? I mean, you got Door over at South Atlanta. We got the incoming freshman, obviously Mari over at
Redan.
We got a chance to see who's as good as advertised. Columbia's got a whole slew of seniors that are college level guys, and we can't have an episode without my man Fonz talking about
Vincent Cray, baby. That's my guy.
Vincent
Listen,
Cray.
Coach, he's been my summer darling all year, to be honest with you. I loved how the kid has played. I'm sure you've seen enough of him.
Yeah.
What can you actually as an opposing coach tell the college coach what they would get if they go recruit a Vincent Cray?
Man, that kid athletic. He plays very, very hard And I'm not scared to say it. I had a conversation with him before. I was like, hey, look, man, because they was in our summer league, and I said, hey, man, if you guys play harder than what I'm saying, you always play, nobody can beat y'all because y'all got all the tools. I said,
Hmm.
you just got to continue to play, man. The sky's the limit for you. You just got to play hard and remember you can't take plays off or let people just kind of just put you in the back burner because you're not a back burner guy. You're a guy that can go get it. So you got to
Hmm.
stay on the attack mode at all times. I'm scared. I done said that, and then he do that against us. Then I'm gonna be looking crazy. But at the end of the day, it's about the kids, though. We want
Yeah, of
all kids
course.
to get that opportunity, whether they play for me or oppose the team. I always want kids to have that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So you played some college ball yourself, right? And obviously, what that looked like back then, 2 years ago, right?
I wish. I
to,
wish.
to, to the era that we live in now. And you went through it last year, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the Nero kid, man, I mean, he was impressive at the Unsane Senior Camp in April. Had several colleges that told me he was the best player there. But he had to go through the process like every other high school has to go through. I guess what advice would you give high school coaches out there, having gone through the process now yourself, or in the same shoes as you right now, who have prospective college basketball players that are seniors in high school, who are maybe still waiting on that first one, just hasn't happened for them yet?
Stay positive. Stay positive and continue to put the work in. And I think a lot of kids, even my kids, if I was to ask all my kids, hey, who want to go to college to play basketball, all of them gonna raise their hand. But you don't want to work like a college player. You don't want to work hard all the time. And I think kids like the glamour of, oh, I got an offer from Duke or I got an offer from Clemson, but do you want to put the work in? Do you want to sacrifice? Do you want to wake up in the morning and run a mile, then go lift weights, then go get shots up, then go to class, then come back, get more shots up, then have practice? Like, do you want to go through that process? You got to do stuff that other kids aren't doing because it's harder now. Because a coach, why would a coach want a freshman, high school, going into a freshman or college when they can get a sophomore or junior who been through the process, who's already probably bigger, stronger, faster, and knows the system versus a high school, because let's be honest, all high school coaches aren't teaching the same thing. And so some of these kids are behind because they didn't really learn in high school. So why would I go get a kid from a high school when I can get somebody from a JUCO or a mid-major or whatever? I can go get somebody at that level.
Yeah, makes sense. And the Nero kid, I mean, he obviously, going into that camp on paper, he may not have been the highest ranked player going in, but with history, you can't erase or changes. He was the best player that day.
Well, he certainly was. I mean, even Matt, when I saw him, I literally said, I was like, that kid is not from Georgia originally, because he had a different playing style about him. I was like, that's not a kid who's had to always push the ball at a higher pace. You could tell he played with a level of confidence and a level of pace that was mature for a high school senior, even though he was still, again, not the tallest, maybe not the most notable guy. Coach, just talk to us about how his game helped transform you guys and you as a coach, because like you said, you're a tough coach, and I'm sure whatever you yelled at that kid, he's probably heard 10 times worse in some other situation.
Yeah, yeah. So with Nero, man, it was. So I'm the only one that since he's been in Georgia, I'm the only one that trained him. He hasn't
Hmm.
had anybody else who trained him. So we did a lot of work from his ninth grade when I first met him. His ninth grade year to his senior year. I'm the only one. We stayed in the gym early mornings, late nights, and so he kept pushing himself. But one thing he kept saying to me, he was like, "Coach, I wish I would have listened to you a little bit earlier. I would be in a better spot. And like I hear you saying, hey, work out, but I was working out, but I should have been doing more. And a lot of kids, including Nero, but he gets it now. But a lot of kids think just working with me for an hour and 32 hours in the morning is enough. Nah, when in the afternoon, you got to get in the gym some more. And so a lot of kids don't want to go through that process. And I think going into his senior year, he did that. Was the first one in the gym in the morning and was the last one to leave in the afternoon. So I think, when it was his time, he was able to do what he needed to get that offer to go play basketball.
And speak on that, coach, about being the first one and last one out. We all hear people say it. We all hear kids try to say, "Oh, I'm going to work hard." How are you able to bring Nero back and hopefully talk to you guys from this past summer, as well as maybe in the future, how to, to be able to have him have that conversation with your younger group of kids to be like, listen, get in here and try to get it done.
So what's funny is he texted me the other day, and I sent it to Matt the other day. He was just saying it's different. College, he was like the ball is heavier. He's saying that the coach like him. He just got to continue to get better and work a little harder. And he done told me several times, like, coach, man, these kids got to work. And I have to tell my kids all the time, if it was hard for me to get Nero in school at 6'2", 6'3", what you think for a 5'7", 5'8" kid, how hard you think it's gonna be for me to get you in school? So you gotta do something. You gotta do something well. If you're a smaller guard, you gotta be able to pick up 94 feet. You can't get tired. You gotta be able to push the ball. You gotta be able to shoot the ball at a high clip, shoot it deep. You gotta be able to do the small things, run the team, be able to finish over bigger people, take charges. The little things I think people are not wanting to do and understand. It's the little things that's gonna get you in school.
Absolutely.
So
Speaking of, I had a kid, he's 6'7" kid, barely played several minutes for me, and just people seeing him on film, seeing him being able to just rebound, he ended up getting an offer. So it's the little things that coaches see, because they gonna find people that can really score the basketball. What can you do to get on the floor? And a lot of kids don't want to do that. They don't want to do the small thing. Everybody want to score 20 points because it look good.
you got this young team now this year. If I remember correctly, no seniors.
No seniors, correct?
So you don't have the senior leadership, so to speak, that some people call it, but you got some talented players. I mean, I said I saw you guys a number of times this summer, obviously, and I'm just looking at my rankings from the 158 teams I saw in person this summer, and I got your 2028 star, Mr. Mollett. I got him in my top 10 from summer non 2026 players that I saw. So from 27 and 28 and 29, he's one of the best players I saw this summer. I mean, he grew tremendously, I think, in those 4 weeks of June, and just got better and better every week I saw him play. And then obviously A.J. Smith, another guard that's up and coming in the 2027 class, who had a really good summer, I thought, as well, and saw some good things. Nathaniel Edwards. So you got some really talented players coming up. Maybe talk about some of those guys and their games, and introduce them to some people maybe haven't heard some of those names that are going to be up and coming big names this year, I think.
Oh, gotcha. So A.J. Smith, he transferred from Heritage. A kid that played with me. It was funny. The kid played with me 2 summers before he ended up going to Heritage. But he played for me, and he was really, really talented there. But with AJ, we're just trying to get him to be a leader. Playing the point guard is the hardest position on the floor to play. You got to be a coach on the floor. You got to run the offense. You got to know all 5 positions. You got to make sure everybody get touches. You got to be vocal. So it's a lot. So getting him to learn how to play the point at his height. And so he's been having a great summer. Even right now in the fall, he's been doing a great job being in the gym. Every day when we get through working out, he want to stay all day. He want to be in the gym all day. He want to be in the gym to 10 o'clock. I'm like, hey, I gotta get home to my wife, man. Like, well, I can appreciate that. I tell people all the time, man, I love my wife dearly, but have my wife mad at me because you want to be in the gym to get better. Because at the end of the day, I'm helping you build a future for yourself. And so, Nathaniel Edwards, a workhorse. Every time, even in the sprints, when it's time to run the sprints, he's the first one all the time. So he works really, really hard. We just kind of trying to teach him game at 6'4". He's got to be a two guard and maybe a point guard. So we've been working on him passing. This summer he shot the ball very well, and even now he's still shooting it at a high level. So we just continue to work on his handles. And then I call AJ, the other AJ, Mullet. I call him Slim, so we call him Slim. But Slim just, got to learn how to just work. He works all the time. Like every time I turn around, he's posted something on Instagram. Well, hey, late night, I'm lifting. He done put on since the summer. He done put on about 6-7 pounds. So he done got bigger, just working on his athleticism, being at 6'5", being able to tear the rim down. He's shooting the ball at a high level right now as well. We've been working on his dribble, getting to the spot, being able to shoot over top of people. And so, get him to understand you don't need a bag to get into school. If you can put the ball on floor 1 or 2 and get to the basket and dunk the basketball or be able to catch and shoot, that'll get you into school, and also being able to defend. That's my biggest thing. You'll get in school if you defend. If you defend well and you can hit open shots, coaches will love you, especially at 6'5", 6'6".
Coach, let me talk about both of your AJs, which were attractive to me when I saw them this summer. I mean, AJ, your point guard, what I loved about him is his heart and passion.
Yeah.
He has a big heart. He's passionate to the point that, and I find this funny because I think this is great communication. Both of y'all got into it, but both of you is because you're passionate about what you want done. You're passionate about wanting to do it the right way or a certain way that you've taught him. And he's passionate about trying to compete, trying to do it the way he knows how. And not fighting you about what you want him to do, but trying to understand it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about early in the summer that when we saw you early, yes, you could see that. But then as the summer progressed, especially when we did our events, I could see that you guys were maybe not on the same page all the time, but you certainly were in closer chapters than you were before. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't on chapter 1 and you wasn't at the end of the book. You guys were a little bit more cohesive in what you were doing. And, Anwar, the thing that struck out the most for me, and kids, I hope they're listening. Yes, he has to get stronger. You said something. Put 6 pounds worth of muscle, which is going to benefit his game tremendously, as well as he's going to, get into his spots to be able to do some of the things that he does. The thing that really I enjoyed watching is his ability to shoot the basketball with a level of consistency within the three that has become a lost art, and certainly from the perimeter, deeper out. That if he were to focus on those two things, again, I'm a defensive guy, so I get it too. I'm a defense first person, so I know exactly what you're trying to get him. But with the fact of his ability to shoot the ball, be able to gain some strength, and have a defensive coach like you teach him how to play the game, sky's the limit for him.
Yeah.
Sky is certainly the limit, and I love Slim, and I want Slim to hear it from me. Keep pounding that iron. Keep pounding that iron. He's gonna be all right.
Yeah, going back to what you just said about, being on the same page, and a lot of coaches and players probably can agree, everybody's system is different. AJ coming from Heritage, Slim coming from Miller Grove, so the system is totally different. They not used to hearing my voice or used to playing how I'm trying to get them to play. So it's going to be some back and forth. A respect thing is going to be a back and forth, but kids got to understand, hey, with you constantly transferring, you're never going to be able to reach your where you need your ability, where you need to be because you constantly got to learn somebody's system. And I tell people all the time, it's hard to get a senior in. Even with like Eli Gaines, he came in his senior year. He been playing for a whole different program 3 years ago, and so when he finally got it, we 20 games in, and so it's a learning curve. And so if you got a kid come in a junior year and you still got an extra year with him, like with AJ, by his senior year, I'm not gonna have to say much to him because he's gonna know the system by then.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, you made a good point about him. Where I was looking at my notes that I had on him. Like his mid in a world where everyone likes to use the term 3-level score,
Hmm.
right? I'm going to take an extra step further. He's a 3-level score from various angles.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Like we live in a world where people like to say 3-level scores, and all they really gauge is can you pull up from like the elbows or the free throw
Yeah.
line, right?
Right, right,
But like
exactly.
his ability to score from all thirds of the floor at all 3 levels for a 2028 kid only with tremendous length and
Mm-hmm.
versatility can guard all 5 positions
Yeah.
from what I saw this summer. Like he really is one of the better 2028 kids that people aren't talking about on a bigger scale, so to speak, yet. And it's gonna be exciting to see him because I mean he's gonna get battle tested this year, like we said about against some good players
Yeah.
that are older than him. Um, and he's gonna be more than fine. I think he's gonna get better and better. So, but transitioning to fall, you guys got a fall league. You're one of the smart ones who put yours on a non-weekend, unlike the rest of everybody in Georgia who
Yeah.
try to do a fall league on a Saturday or Sunday like everybody and their brother. So, talk to us about your fall league that you got and what we can expect to see over at Salem High School on
Yeah,
Thursday.
so we got a pretty good fall league. We got some good teams. We got Southwest DeKalb, Salem, East Side, who's really really good. Um, uh, Charles Drew, Wilson Academy, who typically be really really good as well. Social Circle. Um, who am I missing? Social Circle.
I think
Trying to
South
see.
Gwinnett.
I got two more I'm missing. Oh, South Gwinnett, who's a young team as well, and there's one more team, Latonia and Latonia,
Oh yes, Brian Anderson's over there now. Yeah,
and
yeah.
two of the teams I think we're playing this year. We play Latonia in the regular season, and we also play Eastside.
Nice. Well, we're gonna see you guys a couple times this fall, and when I'll be honest, I didn't know. And Alfonso, maybe you can chime in too. Like, I did not realize the nostalgia behind Therrell High School when we decided we were going to do this fall series at Therrell. I've had a lot of people like it's cool to see something happening at Therrell High School. And so, as a northerner who's not from here, um, I did not realize that was a big deal to have something over there.
Well, well, first of all, let me go back to Metro Atlanta has great tradition, right? And Thurl is one of those schools that have had great tradition, not solely athletics, but primarily just the community, how the community comes together there. And it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's literally right off the highway. Like, so you can almost see it off the road, and it's an easy place to get to. But the thing about it, as Coach Sorrell even mentioned to us, the alumni base is as loyal to the soil when it comes to that place. Like
Right.
they don't waver on who they are. Like you went to the T, you went to Thorough, you gonna know you went to Thorough, and that those are just some of the things. And I believe, and Coach, you could refresh my memory. Anthony Edwards went there for like about a year or two, and before he ended up transferring to the Holy Spirit. I believe he was there. So, but I know they had a Robert, and I can't remember his name. He ended up at one point playing at Houston and bounced around a little bit. So it's like they got some good tradition when it comes to athletics. It's a school that is built around community, and that is why, in my opinion, we're getting the feedback that we're getting.
Hmm.
And that's just something that I think is good for not just Therrell the school, but Therrell the basketball program.
Yeah, I had no idea that we were going to get as many teams for this as we did this fall. And so when we were approached about doing a fall event, I was like, well, everybody's doing something in fall. It might be hard to get a handful of teams, and we're sitting here at nearly 40 teams for the whole fall, and I'm excited for it. So we kicked things off on September 28th, and we got Wilson Academy against South Atlanta to tip things off.
Hmm.
So we'll see Door Door and Boldang on the floor, making their fall debut, so to speak, against a Wilson Academy team that not a GHSA school that maybe people know a lot about, given that they're not a GHSA school. But I've seen Wilson Academy before in person. They're going to have good players.
Yeah.
They're right down in your neck of the woods. So you guys know each other probably pretty well down that way. But they're always going to have good players at Wilson Academy, so that should be a good matchup. And my understanding is they got a 6'10", 8th grader or incoming freshman.
Ain't no telling. I can believe it. When they say it, I can believe it. I like the
I mean,
guard though. They got I think he gonna be a 10th grade this year. Really good. I can't think of the kid name. Left-handed kid. He played with Georgia Stars.
AOT
He was on that
of
team.
Georgia Stars. Okay, he was on that
Cullen,
team.
Cullen, Cullen.
Yeah,
Last name
yep,
Cullen.
Cullen. Yep,
Yeah.
yep, Cullen. Who I saw him last year with that group, and you could tell he was young, but you could also tell he was confident enough
Yeah,
to play
very.
with those guys in the
Yeah,
backcourt. So
yeah,
he was while he was feeling himself, he felt comfortable enough to play with those guys.
yeah.
Yeah. And I'm excited to see them because they're always going to have players at
Mm-hmm.
Wilson Academy to see it go against Door Door, because Door Door to me is one of the most unique players in 2026 Georgia. When you're 6'8" and you're a perimeter guy like he is, and there really aren't any other 6'8" perimeter guys, so to speak, in 2026 Georgia. It's a very short list. Like, you're in a space by yourself, and his perimeter shot blocking skills are way next level.
Yes.
Way beyond a typical high school kid. And so
Hmm.
mid-range pull-ups we talked about. Like, I mean, he's a gem. He's a gem. But the other matchup in that bracket, we got East Coweta and Newton, and two 6A schools that have some good tradition. And what do you know about those guys, Fonz?
Well, first of all, East Coweta, Royal does a fantastic job. He's been building up that program literally brick by brick. I mean, the man has calluses for the way he's put it together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but he's done it in almost a very genuine way, right? And then you got Newton, where Coach Browner, who is coming off a tremendous run. Let's not
Yeah.
disclose that. Like,
Yeah.
people could say what they want. He went to the finals and gave Wheeler everything they wanted and then some.
Yeah.
He's a
Correct.
he's a possession or two away from capturing that school's first state championship as well as his own.
Yeah.
And the fact that they put a runner-up trophy in the trophy case says a lot about him, and he's going to be able to. Again, I'm looking. This is a matchup of two teams that we'll see in the postseason. Like, there's no question about it. We'll see both of them in the postseason. Chase over at East Coweta, who just recently picked up an offer from Edward Waters, University, after going down there, because he has a skill set that we just talked about with Anwar. He can shoot the basketball. And if you can shoot the basketball and are willing to play a little bit of defense,
Yeah.
or show the desire to play defense,
Yeah.
you're gonna get an offer for sure.
Yeah, it's a good point about Newton, right? Like, they got hit, right? In the
Yeah.
offseason. A lot of transfers and things of that nature, and that happens now. Like, there's going to be years where you're a winner in the situation, and there's some years where it just doesn't go your way. But that team last year, I mean, I don't know who else could have gotten them as far as they did. Like, they're second in the region behind Grayson, who was number one all year, and almost ordained, right, to get to the championship. Unfortunately, brackets fell the way they did, but and then Wheeler, obviously, they gave Wheeler a game. I think they cut it down to a 1 or 2 score game in
Yeah.
closing minutes, and so kudos to him, obviously, and doing what he did with that team. But they're gonna be young, but he's gonna get it figured out. You know he will. And that region is super young too this
Yep.
year, right? Like Archer's starting all over, kind of like he is.
Mm-hmm.
Heritage, you know, we'll see. I mean, they're gonna be young as well. Rockdale's got a new coach in that region this year.
Well,
So
they're
we'll see
gonna they're gonna be pretty young. They're gonna be pretty young. Most South Gwinnett gonna be young as well.
Mm-hmm.
very young.
So that region is gonna be young. It's gonna be
Yeah.
pretty young.
And so will Grayson's kind of starting over, so to speak, too. You know,
Okay.
with the roster flip that they've had, and you know there'll be some changes. But Grovetown's gonna be super young too, so there's not really gonna be that senior heavy team in that region this year. But East Coweta, I mean Harper Rife. I don't know if we saw a kid that shot the ball any better than Harper Rife did this summer.
No, and I apologize. I know I called him Chase, but certainly, he's got a skill set that we talked about it this summer when we saw him at Collins Hills too, and I even had the conversation with Royal. If there's 5 shooters in the state, he's not 5. Okay, and you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
and he shoots the ball well, and even with his misses, you're gonna have a chance for it to go in because he
Mhm.
never looks like he's taking a bad shot. Even a contested shot. Most times, and I'm sure Coach can attest to this. You tell a kid don't shoot it because it's contested, right? It's a poor
Mhm.
percentage shot, but he manages to knock down some of those types of shots that you go. It just shows that he's fearless about shooting the basketball and he's confident about when the ball goes up. I'm going to get the result that I need.
Well, and they got a young team, right? They graduated a lot of seniors. They got 4
Mm-hmm.
dudes that graduated that are going on to play college basketball this year, which is unique, right? In this day and age, that anybody has 4 kids from one graduating class playing college basketball. So kudos to Royal on that. But like, they got this unique 1-2 punch where, right, the first rule of any good offense is get a shot, right? Don't turn it
Mhm.
over. And the second rule of any good offense is usually make it a good shot. And
Mm-hmm.
Harper Rife can do both of those things. But then the third rule sometimes is, well, we got to get offensive rebounds as much as we can. And you got the 6'7" kid down there, 2027, David Askew, who I fell in love with this summer. Like, he
Yes.
grew on me. He put a ton of muscle on between his sophomore season and now he's going into his junior year. And he's definitely a college level prospect in the 2027 class who stuck out to me when we saw them at Collinsville this summer.
Well, it's just a team that, again, talking about when we talk about the architect behind it in Royal, Maxwell, like he's putting it together. He's building it with old guys, which he's had in the past. And listen, even him as a coach, and hopefully this will happen for Coach McDaniel here with Nero, is you get guys that people didn't really believe in. Those guys got a chance to go to the next level. And now he's got guys that are at least getting an invite back to camp, at the NBA level to be able to potentially change their lives financially, and then you have had guys that, yeah, people in the state knew, people in the state knew that they can play, but it took them going to, you know, getting a college coach at the next level to believe in them, then them be able to be productive to then turn around. And that's what you talk about with what Royal has done as the architect of East Coweta, just being able to go, you know what, we're going to get it, as people like to say, we're going to get it from the mud and make a lot of this work and make sure that he rolls up his sleeves with those kids. And even this summer, he was letting all his kids just play. And sometimes with a young team, and coach, you can attest to this with your team this past summer. Sometimes you got to just let them play,
Yeah.
let them play through mistakes, let them play through adversity without calling a timeout to bail them out. Now, sometimes you do have to call a timeout and light a fire underneath them, of course. But a lot of times you got to let them figure it out, because if they was playing 5-on-5 shirts and skins, they're gonna have to figure it out anyway. So might
Yeah.
as well just learn it on the fly, right? Isn't that right, Coach?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're correct about that.
Now, other matchups we got on September 28th, Parkview and Union Grove.
Mm.
And saw Parkview this summer in person, new coach, you know, Howard's coming over from over by the Augusta area, but he's no stranger to Atlanta area basketball, and they got some good size at Parkview this year. They had a little bit of energy when we saw them this summer, and I was impressed with what I saw from them. Just they looked like a different Parkview team, and the size alone and length I think is going to be something to pay attention to this coming season, because they do have some young talent, and they did have a big man. I know he plays football. I'm trying to think of his name. He got an offer to Virginia Tech for football, but big 6'6", 6'7" kid who cleaned up really well inside. But they also had a nice young guy. I think if I remember right, the last name was Pemberton, if I remember correctly, who stuck out as well, and just kind of another 3-level Swiss Army knife type guy who just talented, and he has a quick release. I remember from when I saw them there at the Southwest DeKalb tournament this summer, and I believe it is Brandon Pemberton, 2027 prospect for Parkview. He's a name to pay attention to in that 6A region this year. Union Grove lost some good players to graduation, but they made a Sweet 16 run last year, and they're always good. It seems like, and Ira does a good job over at Union Grove, so that'll be a good matchup. And then we got Salem and Pebblebrook.
Well, the one. Look, here's the one. I'm gonna let him talk about the Seminoles, but here's what I'm gonna enjoy. Him and Coach Washington both will have the energy, to be able to light up all of Atlanta on a Sunday, because them two are gonna make sure that their kids, whether they're sitting in the stands, that their kids know that, hey, guess what? You know what? You guys better get it together. I'm gonna come out of this stands and yank your neck and make sure you get it right. Ain't that right, Coach?
Yeah, yes, sir. Hey, I'm gonna be the loudest person there, and I'm gonna be across the hallway or across the court. I'm gonna be the loudest one there, but I'm excited about coming to you guys' event, because I know we get better each year, and I just like the stuff that you guys do to help kids, get in school. So, man, I really appreciate that.
Thank you. That means a lot, because
yes, it does.
That's the whole purpose of our existence. I tell people is to help kids get in school, and there's a lot of other avenues out there that don't do that. So it means a lot.
And Coach, I want to ask you something that before we move on and wrap this up here shortly. What do you find as the benefits of playing a fall league? Especially with a young team like yours. What do you feel is the benefits for any team to play a fall league?
Just getting more reps. I think kids don't play a lot. Like, it's okay to train, but when are you incorporating what you're training, what you're doing in training? So I just feel like my kids, the more they play, the more they learn each other, and the better they get. So I enjoy playing fall league, even though we can't coach them, but you still get to see them running what they need to run, still being able to play defense, but also being able to play with each other. That's the big thing, being able to play with each other. Because, again, you just had them in July, then you lost them. So it's basically like you starting over. You go from June, they playing defense. July, they go to AU, they ain't playing no defense. Now you got to get them back in August, September, and try to get them back to playing defense the style that you play. And so I think it's the benefit, it's a great benefit, because they are able to get back into the system getting ready for October.
Perfect.
That makes sense. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to that Salem and Pebblebrook matchup, because I know it's going to be a scrap. Probably the right word to use. And I don't need the alumni of Therrell High School coming after me if we don't talk about Therrell in the Therrell event. So other bracket here we'll cover here, and then we'll call it a night. Is you got Therrell against Drew Charter.
Okay.
Vincent Cray in the house.
Well, Vincent Cray in the house, and I want to see what McWhorter does against them, because both of them are at different ends of their development. One's on the way out and preparing to get to the collegiate level. The other one has slowly carved himself into the conversation of being one of the better kids in 2027. And part of it is because it goes back to the defensive part. He's getting a strong grasp of that. But the thing that I was impressed with him too is his ability to be a double double guy. You know,
Yes.
he has at any given moment he can be a double double guy, and that is essential for anyone looking to get into the next level. That yes, you can get 5 layups if you really work relatively hard to get to the glass. You get 5 offensive rebounds, putbacks. That's there goes your 10 points, right?
Yeah.
Then you get 5 defensive rebounds. You're an easy double double guy, and if he does that this year for Thurl, they will continue to make the upward progression that Coach Therrell has had them going. And as he says it, hype me up brick by brick.
Yeah,
Well,
that,
I
that,
mean,
that kid played hard. He's played really, really hard. That's what I like. You know, we played him this summer, but he plays really, really hard and tough. And so that's a unique thing to have if you're trying to get in school. And you're correct. That double double, you're a double double guy, man. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
presence and impact,
Yeah.
as they
Yep.
say. And so the other matchup there, we got Hanley out of Alabama, out of state school. It's going to be interesting. Don't know much about them. But looking forward to seeing them come across the state line and come play on our side of town.
What
And
part of Hamlet? You said Hambrick?
Hanley High School,
Where they located? You know,
Roanoke, is that how you pronounce it?
Roanoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard.
Roanoke.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. They country then. I got you. Country.
All right.
No, I'm from Alabama too, Mobile, Alabama. So yeah,
So
they
he
they
said they
country,
country. The
country,
fact that
country.
I
I
love
know I'm
that
country,
response.
but it's country.
Well, their first game in the because they're coming all 3 weekends.
Okay.
So their
Nice.
first game of the fall series, they're going to be faced up against a 2A program in East Jackson, who we've been hearing about. Haven't seen them in person, but we've been hearing about all summer that they're going to be good, apparently. And I'm excited to see the East Jackson Eagles because they do have, when you look on paper, 3 really good 2027 prospects as far as what they did for their team last year. Most notably, Qua Watson, 2027 guard, who was all region last year. And so, they do have some youngsters who have a lot of varsity experience at the 2A level. And so I'm excited to see what East Jackson will bring to the table because, like I said, they got some guys. Noah Nichols, 6'4", 6'5", long, athletic wing forward type guy who, passed the eyeball test, just a really young player last year at the varsity level. Talked about Qua Watson, and they also had a 2028 young little point guard last year, Jalen Stevens, at East Jackson. And so, they got 3 guys who were varsity major contributors who are all back. So that'll be an interesting matchup to pay attention to as well. But I'd like to thank Coach McDaniel for your time, sharing your story with us. And looking forward to seeing you guys around the gym this fall, obviously, and the season. And thanks for carving out time to come tell us your story. And appreciate that. So.
I appreciate you guys having me, and I really enjoyed myself.
Well,
We appreciate you for sure.
as always, folks, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Appreciate you tuning in to this week's 4 Point Play podcast. As always, we will see you on the court.